He showed up to my apartment when I said we needed space from each other. He contacted various friends. He attempted to break into my apartment at some point.
Jesse Alvarez, 33, shot Fierro 6 times as he was leaving his home in the North Park neighborhood of San Diego to head to work on February 1, 2021. Prior to this, prosecutors said he had stalked his ex-girlfriend, who he had dated on and off between 2015 to 2019.
Defendant methodically plotted his execution. And part of that planning was to surprise him.
Gembra said in court she had tried to move and change her number and eventually filed a restraining order against him.
Do you know Mario Fierro?
Yes, I do.
And how do you know him?
Mario is my fiance.
How did you meet Mr. Fierro? Take your time.
We met at Cathedral. We met as teachers, and specifically at an event at school.
What event was it?
Our Christmas party. Mario and I communicated with one another. Our relationship was built on faith, love, trust, respect. We had each other's best interests in mind, and we brought the best out of one another. Every day with Mario was a gift because I could be myself, and I could share in my dreams, and I could talk to him about school and how to be a good teacher and how to navigate what is going on in life. He was genuine. He was very loyal. He loved his family, his friends.
Objection, narrative.
Objection sustained. Next question, please.
Was he funny?
He was hilarious.
Did he have good relationships with his family and friends?
Yes,
Was he seen as a mentor?
definitely.
Can you please tell us about that?
Mario, as a teacher and a coach, always had the best interest in everyone. He saw the best in the person.
Relevance.
The objection's overruled. I'll allow you a certain amount of latitude here.
You can answer.
He always encouraged people to do their best.
I want to talk to you about the defendant. How do you know Jesse Alvarez?
I met him through an online dating app. Back in 2015.
What was your relationship like with Mr. Alvarez?
Complicated.
Why do you say that?
I thought he was someone who was a person of faith and that he cared about other people. But there were difficult conversations and I didn't feel safe.
When did your relationship end?
September 1st of 2019.
Who broke up with who?
I broke up with him
Why?
because I knew that it was not a safe or healthy relationship and I didn't want to be in it anymore.
How did he take that?
Not well.
Will you tell us what you mean by that?
I asked for some space. He continued to try to contact me. He told me it was going to be difficult.
What was going to be difficult?
Breaking up and staying out of the relationship.
What else did he do?
He showed up to my apartment when I said we needed space from each other. He contacted various friends. He attempted to break into my apartment at some point. I mean, had various family members try to call me or text me.
You had mentioned, and I want to talk about this in a little bit more detail so that we can understand how he took the breakup. Okay, Ms. Kambara?
Okay.
You mentioned that he had showed up to your home. You mentioned that twice. The first time he showed up to your home, can you tell us about this? Are we now still in September 2019?
Yes.
Tell us about that.
I think it was like a day or two after I said that I didn't want to be in a relationship. I had some friends over for a gathering and he showed up. We asked him to leave. He wouldn't. He also wanted to meet up again. And I said, this is no. I do not want this relationship. Continued to try to talk to me and beg me to stay in a relationship with him, that we could work it out.
Was there a time during this conversation that you were scared?
Yes.
What happened?
He followed me to my apartment and cornered me. And I said, this is it. I can't. And I was so scared. I didn't know what to do.
Once Alvarez had learned that she got engaged to Fierro, prosecutors said he began plotting Fierro's murder. He had Googled how to kill your ex's fiancée and also did internet searches for hiring hitmen, how to kill someone with a handgun, and how to delete Google search history. Alvarez's defense claimed that the shooting had been done in self-defense.
What I'm going to ask you in my opening statement is to keep an open mind. He doesn't always look at things the way someone who does not suffer from autism looks at life or looks at relationships. Mr. Fierro came toward Mr. Alvarez and started to hit him around the torso and rib area. Mr. Alvarez will tell you that he backed up several steps, that Mr. Fierro kept coming toward him, assaulting him, hitting him.
Alvarez testified per the outlets. He claimed that he had gone up to introduce himself to Fierro that day and that the teacher had gotten aggressive and tried to kill him. He claimed that he tried to get Fierro to calm down before pulling out a gun. He further testified that he has autism, which his attorney said made it difficult for him to understand social cues. He also admitted that he had fantasized about Fierro's death, but didn't intend to kill him, and turned to Google because he didn't have anyone to talk to.
And he stopped, and I put my gun down. He went to his knees, and I just, I stopped, and then he got up from his knees and looked at me again. He said, "You kill you," and he rushed me again, and I just aimed downward. I shot. We had a back and forth, and he got lower and lower to the point of stopping. And I was just in such trauma and shock of what happened that I didn't know what to do, and I just left, and I got in my car and I drove away.
First shot was in the arm?
Yes.
And then you said you used his leverage against him?
Yes.
So, and then he went in front of you?
Yes, he moved past me.
Okay. So how far in front of you was he when you shot him in the back?
I would estimate maybe like maybe 2 feet or 3 feet maybe.
Okay. And then after that, he came back at you again?
Yes. Yeah, he fell to his knees and then got up and came at me again.
He fell to his knees and then got up and came at you again?
Yes.
Okay. And you don't know where the next bullets went after that?
No, at that point we just had back and forth, and he kept lunging at me and getting from kind of lower and lower positions, and I just was frantically just trying to, get him off me.
What was this back and forth like that you mentioned?
Well, I just tried to shoot low, and because I just wanted to stop him, and he kept lunging at me and trying to hit me, and I just kept kind of just trying to fire low until he would stop advancing towards me and stop, lunging at me.
So you got in your car and left?
Yes.
Why didn't you call law enforcement?
I think it was because I was in such trauma and terror of what had just happened, and I was also very afraid because, I had never been in this kind of altercation before, and I felt responsible for, unwittingly causing this man's death, and I didn't feel secure enough that the police would believe my story, believe what happened, and I didn't know how to address it. I just felt like just numb in my brain, and I didn't know what to do.
When you gave a statement to Sergeant Leahy and Detective Newquist, you stated that you didn't want to call the cops because you were carrying a concealed weapon.
That was another reason why, that I had gone through the processes to get the specific permit for that, but had not yet been issued that, right? So.
Sorry, that's not my question. Why did you lie to the detective and the sergeant about why you didn't call the cops?
I think just that day I was not very forthcoming or very honest with them overall, because I just was so traumatized from that, as well as the arrest. My family and I were all arrested at our home and put on our knees and put in handcuffs, and there were dozens of SWAT team members pointing large guns at us, and it was just a very traumatic day. I wasn't in my right state of mind.
What, after you shot Mario in the arm?
Yes.
And shot him in the back, you were several feet away from him at that point, correct?
Yes.
Okay. At that point, he'd been shot twice. Now we know that one of those bullets went into his internal organs.
Yes.
Why not just run away at that point? Why keep shooting at him?
Well, I think, I was just kind of sort of stuck in a kind of state of shock, or not being fully sure if, anything else was going to happen, and being on total defense mode. And so, that's why I lowered the gun. But then when he continued to aggress me and continued to come at me, then, I had that same, just trying to fight for my life and just, and stop what he was doing.
Were you facing towards the apartment when Mario charged at you the second time?
I was. Sorry, can you please ask your question again?
After Mario got shot twice and he charged at you, as you were just describing, were you facing the apartment?
Yes.
Okay. So your back was to the street?
Correct.
Again, can you explain why you didn't just run down the street?
I guess, I was afraid that I might be pursued or chased, or I guess I didn't, I don't know. I didn't feel like I necessarily was safe yet, I guess. I'm not entirely, I think that's most likely is that I just was afraid of being pursued, or that, I tried to stop him, but I wasn't sure if,
What did you see Mario doing that created this fear and made you think you could not run down the street at that point in time?
Well, once he fell on his knees, he still had his fist clenched and, was still visibly very agitated and menacing and livid. And I think in that moment that, if I did try to go away, that he would very well pursue me.
Crystal clear to you that she wanted nothing to do with you, right?
She did communicate that.
She even sought help through the court system, right?
Yes.
She tried to get a restraining order from you, correct?
Right, and it was denied.
That's right, and I want to talk about that for a moment. You felt wronged by her accusations in that declaration, correct?
Yes, I believe they were untrue and defamatory statements that were not based in objective truth or reality.
Your testimony is that you only fantasized about killing Mr. Pierre, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Now, you started this fantasy to kill him after you saw this photograph, right, of this happy couple?
No, it was after I saw a picture of Amy with him, and she was intoxicated and drugged or drunk. I believe that's when I started to have those fantasies and thoughts.
5 hours after you saw this post. Well, 5 hours after Cathedral Catholic High School posted this, you began adamantly searching for Mr. Pierre, correct?
Yes, I believe so.
12 hours after Cathedral Catholic High School posted this photo of this happy couple, you started researching how to hire a hitman, correct?
I believe I put that into a Google search. As to how many pages I visited or what have you, I don't know. But yes, I did search that, as you say.
You also researched where Mr. Fierro lives, correct?
That came up in a Google search with his name, so yes, that came up in just a general search of his name.
And that same day that you did that, you looked up how to shoot someone at their home address, correct?
Right, but as we established before, that was a question I didn't need an answer for.
Correct. Yes or no?
I mean, yes, that's what's presented in document, right, so I can't disagree with that.
You also researched how to shoot someone with a 9mm Glock, right?
Another question I knew the answer for, but yes.
And this is your gun, right?
Looks like it.
Your 9mm Glock painted white. This is your gun, right?
Right. Stormtroopers, Cerakote.
Stormtroopers. Are they the good guys or the bad guys in Star Wars?
They are the antagonists.
Now.
But the good guys have lightsabers, so, you know.
You researched the best place to shoot someone in the head to kill them, correct?
Again, yes, a question I already the answer for.
And that's the same...
A question I already knew the answer for.
Before you killed Mr. Fierro, before you shot him 6 times, you went to his home at 5 in the morning and you started taking pictures of all the vehicles outside his apartment, correct?
Yes.
That was because with your Google searching, you were able to find out within hours where Mr. Fierro lives, 4515 Kansas Street, apartment A. You Google mapped it plenty of times, but you couldn't figure out which car belonged to him just by Googling right away, correct?
I suppose not.
So you went to his home at 5 a.m. and you took pictures of multiple vehicles outside his apartment complex, correct?
Right.
And you have your mask on, correct? That's you, right? In that picture?
Presumably.
That's from your phone, Mr. Alvarez. Is that you?
I guess so then.
The reason that you are telling us why you went to Mr. Fierro's home.
Mm-hmm.
You said that you went there to talk to him, correct?
Yes.
And that ultimately your goal was to have closure, and that you went there to talk to him, and ultimately to wish him and Amy a happy future together. I'm quoting you, correct?
Right. I wanted to move on and stop being kind of stuck in that funk of, obsessing over them and Amy and everything that's going on with them. So.
You want us to believe that?
Objection. Next question.
Sergeant Edited, next question.
You had pepper spray at home, right?
That's correct.
But you didn't bring pepper spray, did you?
No.
You brought your loaded gun, correct?
Yes, because that's what I've been taking the previous months. So.
You brought a loaded gun to Cathedral Catholic High School too?
You're talking about the Mask for Life or to work? What are you talking about?
You bring your gun everywhere, right? Did you bring it to Cathedral Catholic High School 2 weeks before you killed one of their teachers?
No, I did not, but I believe,
It's yes
I don't take it to church, obviously. I'm just, like I said, maybe you weren't paying attention to my statement yesterday, but I said explicitly in uncertain terms that I take it only when I feel unsafe.
Hold on.
Sorry.
Next question.
So you took your brother's car, and you brought a loaded gun, and you left your cell phone at home, and you dressed yourself in all black to retain heat, according to you, and then you went to Mr. Fierro's residence, correct?
I went to his residence, yes. I just testified to that.
Yes, you did testify to that. You also testified that you needed to have directions to his residence, and you printed directions out, correct?
No, I wrote them down by hand.
Oh, you did. But you already didn't know how to get there? You were just there.
I'm very bad with directions.
I'm sorry.
I said I didn't remember the directions turn by turn. I don't know if you're familiar much with the North Park area, but there's a lot of really small, narrow streets. It's old part of the city.
Objection sustained. Next question.
You went to Mr. Fierro's residence while it's still dark outside that morning, correct?
It was transitioning to being daytime, I guess. I don't exactly recall, but yeah, it was becoming daytime or it was the start of the day.
And you waited for Mr. Fierro, correct?
I wanted to speak to him, yes, and just waited for him to appear. And like I said, was just, praying and thinking and doing a crossword, just waiting.
You were watching the very home you had located only 5 hours after you found out that the person who was living there in apartment A was that same person that was going to marry Amy, correct?
Right.
You were waiting for Mr. Fierro, and you even saw the car that you had just recently surveilled as well, correct?
I recognize the car.
When you looked at the car too, correct?
Right.
And when that man, Mr. Fierro, the man that you so deeply have researched, the man that you have a host of photos of in your phone, photos of him and Amy, the girl that you are still, in your words, obsessed with.
Well, I'm not obsessed right now, but at that time, yes.
You watched him walk out of his house that morning.
I saw him enter the parking area. I don't claim to have seen him exit his door per se and all that, but yes, I saw him enter the parking area where his car was.
You waited for him, and you were watching for him, and then you watched him walk to his car. You watched him open the trunk of his Mini Cooper, correct?
I got out of the car when he entered the parking area and approached him to greet him, yes, so.
Watched him open the trunk to his Mini Cooper, put his golf clubs inside. He had no idea that you were there, correct?
He did not know, no.
he turned his back to you. You pointed your firearm and you aimed it at him and you shot him, correct?
No, that is categorically incorrect.
You're right.
I greeted him, said, "Good morning, Mario, how are you? My name is Jesse Alvarez," and started introducing myself.
I'm gonna play for you. Horse 74. That was you, right? Mr. Alvarez? That was you pulling the trigger, correct?
That was me screaming and him pulling the trigger on the first shot, yes. I already testified to that.
Mr. Alvarez, you put 6 bullets in Mr. Fierro's body, right?
That's what the evidence shows.
Alvarez was found guilty of first-degree murder in the death of Mario Fierro.